Hello and welcome back to Arduino Ninjas. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to look at controlling multiple outputs at the same time from our Arduino, and we're going to learn how to mix outputs together to get various colors out of a red, green, blue LED, a multicolor LED. Along the way, you'll learn a little bit about how the eye works. In fact, you may have already come across a little bit of how the eye works. But what we're going to do is, rather than me talk, we're going to jump us into our circuit building as quickly as we can. So hopefully we should be able to see our circuit board diagram. Today is really easy. We're going to have simply two components and a breadboard. We have the Arduino, and somewhere in your box you'll find you've got a red, green, blue LED on a little breakout board. Now, the reason why we want to use the breakout board is inside your box, let's see if we can get this to focus, you have got an LED like this. An LED with, focus, 4 legs. Doesn't want to focus. There we go. LED with 4 legs. If we use this one, we'll get the same effect, but we'll have to remember which lead does what, and we'll have to connect resistors to all of these. In your box, you actually have one that someone has already done for you. See if I can get this to zoom in for you so you can see what we're doing. We have the LED soldered to a circuit board, and on the circuit board are 3 little tiny black chips of silicone. They are resistors, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pins at the bottom here. And you'll notice they're labeled red, green, blue, and minus. So we call this a common cathode. Cathode is what we call the negative, because they're all using the same negative, and they've got their own separate positives. So we'll look at this more closely in a little bit, but let's go back to our circuit board. Circuit board simply needs us to take our LED on a chip, and we're going to plug it into the breadboard. Where we plug it in doesn't really matter. I'm going to plug it into here just so we can see what's going on. Now, 3 of my pins have automatically connected up. My negative hasn't, but we'll fix that in a minute. It's just because when I built this picture, I got the spacing very slightly wrong. The joys are working in millimeters rather than inches. What we're actually going to do first is we're going to take a wire, and we're going to connect from this line here over to one of the pins marked G and D. You've got 2 here, or you've got 1 up there. I'm going to go to this one because it's closest, and I'm going to make that a black wire just so that we remember that that is negative. We're now going to take the red, green, and blue, and we're going to connect them to 3 separate outputs on this side of the board over here. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that 6 of those have a little squiggly line next to a tilde. That means we can do variable outputs, or pulse width modulation outputs. So as there are 3 here next to each other on 9, 10, and 11, let's just use those. So we'll connect 9 to the red pin, and I'm going to make it a red wire. 10 to the green pin, and let's see if I can tidy this up a little bit because it's getting messy already. Obviously it's less messy in reality, or more messy depending on how you've wired it. And blue is going to go into 11. The only reason I'm doing them that way around, so red in 9, come here, 9, green in 10, and blue in 11. There is no major reason for it. Oh, still. Hopefully you get the idea. You can see how that's wired up. It's just so that when we write the code, 9 comes first, 10 comes second, 11 comes third in numerical order. And when we talk about LEDs, we generally are talking about the red first, then the green, then the blue. So it just keeps everything in order. Now, on the actual wiring up itself, here is our breadboard again. It's a little easier to see. So again, just looking very carefully, RGB minus. There is no reason why you should not have RGB minus, but if for some reason yours is an RGB plus board, they do exist out there. That means you've got a common cathode, and so when we connect the negative up, we're actually going to connect it in a different place. So I'm just going to plug that into my breadboard, and I have gone into row 5, 6, 7 and 8. So my red is pin 5, column 5, my green, column 6, my blue is column 7, and my ground, the common cathode, is 8. So now all I need to do is connect them to the right places on the board. And we said red to 9, green to 10, blue to 11, and black to one of the ground pins. V in, ground, V in, ground. And if it's working right, nothing's going to happen, which is perfect. So go ahead, build your circuit, get to the same point as there, and we'll join you when we start coding, and we'll start making the basic colors.